Hey everyone. Today I wanted to talk about your 401k and go over some helpful tips to help make sure your 401k is on the right track. It's the beginning of the year. It's a great time to review your 401k. For those who I haven't met, I'm Scott with Searon's Financial Group, and let's dive in. Your 401k is an important piece of the overall retirement puzzle. Think about this. At some point in time, your company paychecks may no longer be coming in, and you're going to need to now supplement your income in retirement. And a lot of that, or a big part of that supplement, may come from your 401k. So today I wanted to focus on 5 thoughts and tips to help ensure that your 401k is on the right track. Now, the 401k in general, you can contribute, and this could also apply to, some of this may apply to your 401k, or for those who have a 403b or 457. The thoughts and tips here are applicable to all different types of accounts. So with that, for the 401k specifically, you can contribute up to $19,500 a year into your 401k. That's as of 2021. Now, for those that are age 50 plus, you can contribute up to $26,000 for the year. So with that, let's dive into the 5 tips regarding your 401k to help make sure that they're on track. Number 1, the company match. Are you maximizing the company match? So some companies, they are going to contribute money for you, meaning taking it out of their accounts or their pockets and putting it into your 401k account. So are you maximizing the company match? Take a look at your plan. For example, your company might do a 3% match if you were to put in 3%, or they might do 50% match up to 6%. So a lot of the matches are based upon what you put in. So take a look at your overall plan, see what the company matches, and if you're able to, try to at least start with getting the maximization out of your company match. All right, number 2, make sure that your 401k is invested, and it's invested according to your risk tolerance. Now, this part might sound pretty silly. Make sure my 401k is invested. But yeah, make sure that you are in funds that match what you need from a growth or safety perspective. Because just being in a 401k doesn't necessarily mean that you're invested. A 401k is kind of like the frame to your car, okay? Now, we all know a car is not going to go anywhere without a working engine. So the frame, or the 401k, that's just the tax type. But what you need in your car is the engine. That's what makes it go. Those are your investments. So take a look at your plan. Are you invested according to your plan, to your goals, to your risk tolerance? Now, which investments should you use? Well, again, that depends on you. That depends on your risk tolerance. With a lower risk tolerance, you might be in some more conservative investments. If you're a long ways away from retirement, you may be in a more growth position, so more growth investments. If you're really not sure, maybe pick a target date fund. And the target date funds, those are typically the funds that have the year listed at the end of them. So it might say fund name 2030 or 2035 or 2040. Pick the one that aligns with when you think that you might retire. Now, am I saying that those are the ones that everyone should use? Not necessarily. It all, again, depends on you. And sometimes the target date funds actually have a higher expense ratio. So that's number 3. The third tip is that you want to review the expense ratios in the investments that you're selecting in your 401k. Here's what I mean. Here's what that is. The expense ratio is the cost of the fund company to run and manage that fund. Now, for this one, you might have to dive in, do a little bit of digging into your 401k plan to find these. But if you look at the different mutual funds or investment funds or ETFs, whatever you have in your 401k plan to be able to invest in, take a look at those and you will find where it says expense ratio, or you might have to actually dig into the fund itself to be able to find that. But are you invested in funds that have high expense ratios or low expense ratios? Just because a fund has a high expense ratio doesn't mean that that's necessarily going to give it a better return. Same thing for low expense ratios. It doesn't mean that your return is going to be potentially any better or worse. But it's a good idea to review those to make sure that you're getting funds that are potentially giving you good performance at the lowest expense ratio possible. Okay, before we go into our fourth and fifth tips in regards to your 401k, I hope you're finding value in this video so far. And if so, please connect with us on Facebook or subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can subscribe. There's no cost to you to subscribe. Hit that red subscribe button below the video. All right, let's move on. Our fourth tip. Well, our fourth tip is maxing out your 401k. Now, this is really more of an end of the year tip. But if you have the ability to max out your 401k, here's some thoughts that I want to give you. Typically, when contributing to your 401k, if you are able to do the max, the company might actually limit your contributions. And the main reason is because they do not want you to go over the max. So at the end of the year, make sure you contact your company, your 401k provider, and see what you might need to do to max out that 401k to make sure that you are hitting those max limits that I described earlier. Because if you don't call them, a lot of times you might actually fall up a little bit short. So again, more of an end of the year tip, but make sure that if you are able to max out your 401k, you're going to need to check with them, and you might have to alter the percentages or the contributions in your last check to make sure that you're able to do that. All right, our fifth and final tip when it comes to helping to make sure your 401k is on the right track. This is actually more of a what is available to you in your plan. Do you have a Roth 401k available to you? So if your company offers the Roth 401k, should you, or I guess to say is one is finding out, do they offer the Roth 401k? And then two is analyzing which may be best for you to contribute to. Now, this is a much deeper conversation, but from a top level, let me help explain the Roth 401k versus traditional 401k. The traditional 401k, when you put money into the traditional 401k, at that point in time, you're actually getting a tax deduction. Now, that money is tax deferred, so it's going to grow tax deferred, and then later in life, when you take money out of that traditional 401k, if you're following all the IRS guidelines, then you are going to pay, or that money that you're taking out is going to add into your income taxes. The Roth 401k, well, when you put money into the Roth 401k, you don't get a tax deduction. However, the Roth 401k grows tax-free, and then later in life, again, if you're following all the IRS guidelines, when you take money out of that Roth 401k, you're able to withdraw it tax-free. So one, you get the traditional 401k tax deduction today, pay taxes in the future. The Roth 401k, you pay taxes as you put the money in, but it grows tax-free and withdraw it tax-free in the future. So which may be best for you? Well, that all depends on your circumstances. Do you feel that you're going to be in a higher or lower tax bracket in your future? But the main point is to take a look at your situation, take a look at your 401k, and if you've got that available and you feel like you might be in a higher tax bracket in the future, you may want to shift over to putting your contributions into the Roth 401k. All right, with that, there's the 5 tips to help ensure that your 401k is on the right track. What's the next steps? Take action. Use this video, pull up your 401k plan, go step by step, review, and make sure, or help make sure that your 401k is on the right track. Thanks, and enjoy your day.